Welcome to the Plus Odds Pod. I'm Trent Silva, joined as always by my co-host and longtime friend, Justin Albert Thomas. Justin, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, brother. This is a Saturday recording. College football is currently in progress, and Colorado just knocked down my first leg on the parlay on my way to a PJ. When I hit these picks today, I'm corny. It's like, no, let's just get started, bro.
Yeah, let's be happy you have a day job. Wow, that was all right. Yeah, that doesn't usually happen. Me and Justin went to Chicago this past weekend, and we were about to start freestyling. And it makes sense. Justin randomly we're pre-gaming a little bit, and our friend Marinon's like, "Yo, let's freestyle. I'm about to throw on a tight beat," and she's like, "Bro, chill. We don't need a freestyle, bro." It all makes sense why he was ducking it. Now, I think if you listen to that first half, it truly makes sense.
If
But
you really know me back in the G, my freestyle skills are impeccable. So
I can't lie. I was a little nervous. I was like, "Bro, chill. Jay's gonna shit on us. Like, we can't freestyle." Jay will get the room going. That was a slight little choke. I think that was a little 8 Mile. Little,
yeah, I was just trying to incorporate the parlay and CFB, and let's get the ball rolling.
Well, just because I'm out here making choking signs, I should remind you all that if you want to see me making those choking gestures, follow us on. Pause. Whoa.
Oh,
All right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. For our first time listeners, we don't usually start the show up like this. We're very organized. As I was saying, if you would like to see my gestures and our faces during the pod, then follow us on YouTube at Plus Odds Pod. Type in the @ sign or find us pretty quick. But also, if you're not subscribed or following us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcast from, drop us a follow. We're going to be dropping every week on Thursday. This week, like I mentioned, we were in Chicago. We were pretty busy. So we're not getting around to recording until Saturday. And I'm sorry if you're hearing this on Monday for the Monday Night Football game or something along those lines. But we will have the podcast ready to go and uploaded every Thursday night. So we won't be doing the Thursday night game, but we will be recording during it and dropping picks for Sunday to Monday. So without further ado, we'll jump into it. We always start, if you're a first-time listener, we always start off with our drive picks. Those are our 3 picks of the week that we are most confident in. In order to rank them, we do it by first down, second down, third down. Third down being our best bet of the week because it's third down. That's the play you run when you really need to get that first down. You know what I mean? Second down is our second best bet. And our first down is our last best bet. Still confident in it. There's, 16 games every week before the buys kick off, and we choose 3 to give you. More than likely going to be betting more than 3, but these are the 3 that we're confident enough to give you. So let's kick that off with our drive picks. I've been talking a lot, so I'll throw it to you, Jay. Start us off with your first down play, man.
yeah, for my first down play, I'm gonna start the season off right, betting with my heart as I usually do. I'm taking the Steelers plus 2.5 at home in Pittsburgh. 110 if you want to take the money line. Buy a point if you can wait that late to lock it in, is my co-host likes to say. He's squinting his eyes because he's happy that I didn't give out 3.5. But I'm gonna take the 2.5. I'm very confident in my boys this week. Like Tomlin said, you can't go straight to boxing without sparring, and boy did we get straight to it in the preseason. Our ones, our twos, our threes, we played solid team football, and I think we hit the ground running against a great opponent. Even with their defense, everything going on, Steelers are ready to play, and I'm taking them 2.5.
Okay. Let me just hop on there. I guess I'll just piggyback off of you. Should I skip forward or should I just get my first down and then? I'll get my first down play. Yeah. So my first down play this week is it's gonna be Atlanta. It's gonna be Atlanta taking on the Panthers.
ML?
No,
Oh,
Atlanta's
spread.
yeah, they're favored. Yeah, they're favored by 3.5 points. And just to be candid, I bet the Falcons -3 about a month or so ago. I think I put a unit down on that. I still like it at 3.5, mainly because it's more of a fate of the Panthers, right? Uh, you got a rookie QB making his first start and Bryce Young. You have Frank Reich making his debut as the Panthers head coach and also play caller, which, I mean, who knows how that's going to go first game, right? You don't know if the offense is going to be in sync. Frank Reich has a very bad history week one, and I apologize. I don't have the exact numbers for that when I usually do. I have them for the rest of the coaches I mentioned. But yeah, this is just not a good outlook for the Panthers, right? If you watch their offensive line and just their play during the preseason, it was abysmal. It was terrible. And I think this offensive line is going to get shredded by the Falcons' defensive front seven. You also look at the last number one pick to win their first start. Justin, just give me a guess. What year do you think this is? Last overall number one pick to win their first start in the NFL. Quick
Last
guess.
number one overall pick to win their first start in the NFL. Is this specifically an offensive player?
First, yeah, number one quarterback taken in the draft.
Quarterback. Sorry. That is probably Joe Burrow.
It's a good guess. Last number one pick to win their first start was David Carr in 2002.
Damn.
Yeah, so it is unprecedented for rookie quarterbacks to come in and win their first start, especially taking number one overall. So yeah, I'm loving the Falcons. Love them at 3. Still like them at 3.5. That's why they're only a first down play. But yeah, they're going to be cooking with fresh grease. Wouldn't be surprised if they blow this number out the water.
And that leads me right into my second down play. But before I talk about my second down play, I'm just going to tease my third down play because it's a show best bet because I like the Falcons -3.5 as well. And I'm taking them as my third down play. I might tease the half a point to get that field goal, but 3.5 is the line that we'll live and die by in the win-loss column for this podcast. That leads me back to my second down play, which I'm taking the Chargers on the ML. I think, I can't ML. I have to spread.
I mean, that's usually what we do, man. We give out the spread, but if you are confident enough to tell them to lay the lumber, then that's your pick.
I gotta see the line.
I believe it's at -3. Last I checked, it was -3 point spread. I'm checking right now.
Yeah, if you could
to see if it's still the same, but give out your handicap.
Regardless, I like that -3, -3.5. I think that the Chargers just outright cover that in this game, as we already talked about before with the Jesus, why did I just blink like that? With the Dolphins and everything they have going on, Armstead is out for this game, and that is a huge loss for them at left tackle?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tua, I feel like that's gonna move him out of the pocket quicker and try to get him on his feet more. So I expect a lot of blitzing out of the Chargers, just to try to get the ball out of his hands quicker, which could come back to bite them because they do have pretty fast wide receivers in Miami. But regardless, I think Herbert and all his new weapons, Eckler, Johnson, as mentioned earlier in the pod, they get the job done week 1 at home against the Dolphins. Chargers -3.
Yeah. So when he says earlier in the pod, by the way, we just recorded our AFC and NFC West preview. So if you want to go give that a listen, you can. Just to piggyback off your point, I do like the Chargers. It's a game that has a lot of variance to me, so I've chosen to stay away. But just to recap, you look last year at the Chargers versus the Dolphins game. I think it was around week 13, I want to say, and the Chargers kind of gave the league the blueprint. Them and the 49ers gave the league the blueprint to stop this Dolphins attack. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but they were zooming through the league. I think they were 8-3, and they faced the Niners and the Chargers and ended up having problems just because they were physical, right? Like the defense was playing physical. They were disrupting those timing routes with Hill and Waddle. They also crowded the middle of the field, didn't let them get all that easy stuff across the middle, forced Tua with his, I don't want to call him noodle arm, but they forced Tua to throw it outside because he doesn't have. I didn't even mean that at all. I swear. Please don't at me. But with that being said, Tua now knows, or Mike McDaniel knows what doesn't work versus them and what might work, right? So you have that film. This was late in the season. And I feel like you like to think, it's hard getting in these offensive coordinators' heads, but you like to think that McDaniel would have devised the plan different rather than similar to his game plan week 13. And yeah, you mentioned the Armstead's out. Waddle has a little oblique injury. He went full participation. I don't know if I'd start him in fantasy. Don't know if you could expect a lot out of a receiver with an oblique injury. And then you got the defense for the Dolphins. Fangio is making his, Dolphins defensive coordinator debut, and they also don't have Ramsey. So that goes a little more to your point of the Chargers. They're also thin at cornerback. The Dolphins are with, aging Xavier Howard, Eli Apple, and the second-year guy, Kohu. So, yeah, I mean, one last thing on the Chargers that I mentioned on the preview was that they're working with a new OC, right? Kellen Moore, they brought him in from Dallas. He's supposed to unlock a new side of Herbert to make, more deep shots, less checkdowns. We don't want you to have a low ADOT because you have a crazy arm. That's what they're trying to get into his head. And, I'm curious to see how that turns out. They have a few rookies that should be making a difference. And one last thing to keep an eye on is Herbert didn't play all preseason. So I'm curious how that new offense goes with him in the first game. On to my second down play, which is Cleveland, the Browns, +2 taking on the Bengals. They're currently +2.5. The Browns are, let me make sure of that. But the Browns are the home team in this game. They are the team that has a lot to prove, I think. This team went all in on Deshaun Watson a couple years ago, last year. And it didn't pan out as well as they wanted because he had to serve a suspension and only got to play 6 games. But this week they had a whole preseason, or this year they had a whole preseason, whole offseason to get right with him. And I think that Stefanski's scheme last year wasn't all the way there yet for Deshaun Watson, right? Like, now you have another offseason to spend with him and find out what he likes and what he doesn't like, which can only pay dividends. 2 of his 6 starts last year were in bad weather. And Stefanski usually has a good offense, right? Like, his first 3 years, offense has been above average in DVOA. And they have one of the best O-lines with Chubb behind it. Like, there's a lot to like about this Browns team, right? And then you look at the defense. They always play Burrow tough. Like, in his, I want to say 4 to 6 games against them, or at least in the last 4 to recent memory. Like, it's been tight games, and Burrow hasn't dogged them by any stretch of the imagination. So I see him struggling week 1. I see Joe Burrow struggling week 1, coming off a calf injury, facing this defense that always plays him tough. And he also has a new bodyguard who's not as good at pass coverage. Yeah, I don't know how much that helps out. Just because, like I said, he's not that good against the pass. And who I'm speaking about is Orlando Brown Jr., by the way. And yeah, last thing, just the Bengals defense, they have so many changes in the secondary, right? They have no more Von Bell, no more Jesse Bates. Wuzier's coming off of an ACL. Like, these are big injuries in the secondary. And I wouldn't be surprised if Cleveland airs it out versus them, right? Like, they also allowed the highest target percentage to tight ends last season. So I could easily see Njoku having a game, and Mari Cooper also, and other of their weapons. You got anything on that one, Jay? He currently just gave me the finger. Jay's flipping me off. I think he's sneezing. It looks like he just took a line. And he's clear. You good there?
That is not 100% not what happened. I want all of my fans to know that. And there's going to be a YouTube video to say that didn't happen. Just had a pretty disgusting loogie.
Thought you were
We're in the same boat in terms of Cincinnati success, and I really do like your second down play. Honestly, might take it myself. Joe Burrow also did not play in the preseason at all, so due to the injury, of course, but jumping into a division game week 1, Cleveland plays them tough all the time, is like, this could go south for them. So, yeah, I like Cleveland plus 2.5.
Nice. Yeah, and I'm sorry, I checked the odds. It's 2 right now, so I'm taking Cleveland plus 2. Also, love them in a teaser. You guys know my teaser rule. The Wong teasers, man, get it at minus 120. If you can get through the 3 and the 7, you're doing yourself a favor and not a disservice. On to the third down play.
Third down play, I'll kick it off. Our attempt to get this first down right here with the Falcons minus 3.5. Co-host already brought up really great points about the Falcons and just who their offense in general. Bijan, what they have going on. Drake London's obviously trying to make a sophomore year jump and not the sophomore year collapse. Ultimately, as most teams, this does revolve around most team success. Desmond Ridder is the determining factor to say if these guys are going to be good or not. Can he be the quarterback that they drafted him to be, not put the ball in harm's way and just hold on to it, not give it up, and they should be solid. Now, on the other hand, I feel like they're going to have to score a lot of points because the defense for the Falcons wasn't the best last season, and it didn't look that well in preseason, to be completely honest. But they're going up against a rookie quarterback in Carolina, Bryce Young, as well as Brian Burns, who still's been on the fence in terms of getting a new contract. He did practice this week, but he is still on the up in the air in terms of if he's gonna give it a go on Sunday. For that reason, I like the Falcons to win the home game in the Dome against a rookie quarterback. Falcons minus 3.5.
Love it, love it. Don't need a heart back on it. You guys know how much I love it. Speaking of the defense, they got a new DC. They're fixing that problem. They got Dean Pease. I mean, he retired at the conclusion of the season, brought in Ryan Nielsen, who was the DC co-defensive coordinator for the Saints. If you know anything about the Saints defense over the past years, that is a good hire. On to my third down play, which is my best bet of the week. The bet that I will have the most skin in the game on week by week and that I am the most confident in. And that is the Pittsburgh Steelers plus 2.5 at home against the San Francisco 49ers. First, let me just before I even break down the teams, let me just give you a couple stats that is going to get your attention. Tomlin as the dog at home is 13-4-3 against the spread. He's 12-8 straight up. That is the best record as a head coach, as a home dog, with a minimum 20 games played. The best. Not second, but the best. Kyle Shanahan, I did this research myself. Week 1 as San Francisco coach, he is 2-4 straight up. He is 1-5 against the spread. He has never covered as a favorite in week 1. If you heard the line that I just gave, San Fran, 2.5 point favorites. All right. Now on to the game itself, right? I know Jay talked about it. I'm going to try not to talk about it ad nauseum, but the offense has been clicking in preseason. And I mentioned this in our AFC North preview, and I don't want it to go under the rug, so I'm going to mention it again. They brought in this feller, Glenn Thomas, as an offensive assistant to help out Canada. And they let it be known, this guy is our offensive assistant. He had some stops in college and in the pros, right? Most notably, he was the quarterback coach helping out Matt Ryan in ATL during 3 of Matt Ryan's 4 Pro Bowl years, right? So the guy is pretty good on the offensive side of the ball. It tends to lead to success, right? And I think that's helping Pickett already. Pickett looks great. He didn't throw a pick. I think every drive he scored a touchdown or something like that. Is that good? Right?
Yeah, and it's great. Actually.
You know? And then you have the young guys, right? Like they're expecting a big league from Pickens. They're hoping to get some from Allen Robinson, whatever that is, whatever he has left in the tank. And I think they're going to get a lot of their tight ends in Freiermuth and Darnell Washington too, right? They got a good old line. They're only one new starter from Philly, Siamolu, if you know who that is, playing left guard. And PFF has them ranked 12th best O-line in the league. So I don't see. I was so ready to say in the country. I'm ready to talk college ball, but. Yeah, I think that even with this pass rush, Bosa, even if he plays 99% of snaps, like I still think that this offense can hold up versus the San Fran defense. But let's talk about the San Fran defense, right? Like, I don't have much on them, but I mentioned Bosa. He's coming back after getting paid money, man. Hargrave is making his debut also on the interior. And it's not a defense that I'm going to poo-poo it on anyway, if you think that's what I'm about to do, because it's not. But I think that the Pittsburgh offense is going to show some new stuff and be able to take them a little ways. Also, pass rush will be intact. TJ Watt playing. Hayward has been questionable, but he's looking good to go. And then you look at the Niners offense, they got some question marks. Kittle dealing with a groin injury. Purdy, he's going, but not as many preseason reps coming off the surgery. And the offensive line, man, like besides Trent Williams, really just the right side of that line from center on, like Pittsburgh's pass rush could feast. I truly think that. So that is why I'm taking the Steelers plus 2.5. Back in Tomlin, 13-4-3 against the spread as a dog at home. They love winning week 1 games too. They fucking love it. Think about the Bills a couple years ago. Think about the Bengals last year. They do this. Tomlin gets guys ready to go.
Yeah, so, yeah. I mean, I was going to say I'll jump in from right where you left off. That's kind of the first game I handicapped in terms of the slate anyways. Couldn't have said it any better than what I was going to mention about everything we got going on in Pittsburgh. Mind you, this is a homecoming game for Hargrave to the team that drafted him. So he already brought it up and saying that, like, Steelers used to be his favorite team growing up. He has all these memories. And then, like, when he got the call from Mike Tomlin when he was getting drafted, he just broke down in tears because he couldn't believe it. He was so happy to be a Steeler. Excited to see him back in Heinz Field. Hopefully he'll come back later in his career. But this week 1 game will really put to the test Glenn Thomas, Matt Canada's offense, everything that we've been trying to put together and work well with Kenny, because we're going up against a formidable defense. Not to mention Hargrave and Bosa, but we still got to worry about the guy in the middle, Warner, who's absolutely just plays like a guy with his head on fire. But the Steelers did add some weapons in the offseason with Nick Herbig, the outside linebacker, Orlando Roberts, who we got from Miami, Quan Alexander, who we got out of New York. So the defense is gearing up to have another spectacular year, just as we did last year. Pass rush is only going to get so much better because Herbig, I don't know how we keep finding gems. I think we have a true connection with those Wisconsin outside linebackers. But, yeah, we finished the season on a 6-game win streak to save Tomlin's record, and I believe we picked right up from where we left off. And that 2.5 sounds lovely. I am most likely taking a lot more plays in this game. Deontay Johnson anytime touchdown is something that I really like. I actually love it. Thinking about putting one of my biggest units on it. I just imagine this game being balls to the wall, all out, steel curtain defense, picket fence offense, and just it's time to lock in, bro. We're about to make a run. Everybody in the AFC has been warned.
They've been what?
They've been warned. You heard me.
They've been warned. Oh no, I didn't know. I didn't know what you said. I actually didn't. But yeah, no. Let's go. Let's cover 2.5 week 1. How's that sound? Sounds amazing. Let's move on to the rest of the slate, where we don't have best bets, but we may have some strong leans, some strong opinions. Let's start off with the Bucs taking on the Vikings. Vikings are 5.5-point favorites in this one. Over under set at 46. This game's at 1 o'clock. We're going to be going in chronological order. Jay, you got anything on this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's Baker and Kirk in Minnesota, and it is Kirk at 1 p.m. And we know what that means when Kirk's playing at 1. Even though Kirk thrives at 1 p.m. games, Baker did look decent in the preseason, as I mentioned a little bit ago, against the Steelers once. So the offense seems to be clicking for him down in Tampa Bay. In terms of Byron Leftwich being the OC, and I think that feeds into Baker's success, honestly. He's obviously tried and true quarterback, has been around the league for a while, and knows how to help a young quarterback succeed. And let alone young, he just had a year with the GOAT, so I think that continues. Minnesota will have a lot to prove to me specifically because they were the king of one-score games last year. When the lights got too bright, they folded in that playoff game. One thing I did also want to keep an eye on in this game is this is Alexander Madison's like first start in terms of Dalvin not being on the Vikings anymore, and they used him a lot last year in the last 2 seasons. Dalvin was a workhorse in terms of the offensive production. So we'll see if Madison can really like pick up from where they left off and the offense doesn't skip a beat. But the run game has to open up in order to open up that crazy passing offense that they have. So give it a little more time, but it will happen soon.
Yeah. What do you think about a spread? Who do you think covers? Just a lean, not holding you.
I'm leaning Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm leaning Minnesota. What is the actual line?
It's 5.5. I say it. When I open up.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, I'm still leaning Minnesota. Yeah. Bucs could definitely cover though. That's the thing. Their defense is.
Great segue to my first point about the Bucs. Honestly, one of my only points. They have a lot of returning production, right? Like, if you listen to the pod we just recorded on the West, 8 of 9 defensive players with over 50% of the snaps played last year are returning, unlike the Rams. That's why I said we listened to the pod last episode. So yeah, 8 of 9 defensive players that played over 50% of the snaps are coming back. I think that means a lot. They still have a lot of skill on that defensive side of the ball. Todd Bowles is a great defensive coach, pretty much coaching for his job this year. I think that plays a lot into it. And the Vikings, they came out week 1. They surprised a lot of teams, right? They had a new scheme. Kevin O'Connell was the head coach / play caller. Everything was different. And this year, I mean, they have a lot of differences on the defensive side of the ball. The Vikings do. They have a new DC with Brian Flores. Unknowns with their young, unproven secondary. Byron Murphy is the only oldest guy they got. They just brought him in, paired him with Evans and Blackman, second-year guy and a rookie. So they don't really wow you with big names anywhere besides Daniil Hunter. This is more of a matchup that I'm going to be watching to see just truly, see how those 13-win Vikings look. That's what I'm trying to see, and also how Baker Mayfield and that offense with the same weapons that Brady had looks this year. Let's move on to the Titans, who are going to be taking on the Saints in New Orleans. The Saints are 3-point favorites at home. The total of this game is 41.5. You lean in any way? You like anything?
What was that line? Sorry, I heard you say total, but I did not hear that first spread. Maybe I just went in one ear and out the other. But
the Saints are 3-point favorites at home.
3 solid line, 3.0.
3.0.
I like that. I'm leaning Saints then for sure. In New Orleans home game, Derek Carr's first game as a New Orleans Saint. Kamara's out for the first 3 games, but I'm sure they'll find production with Olave and Juwan Johnson. Watch out for him. I think he has a great game as a tight end. Is Slam Boy back?
Yeah, it's the first game, man. Slam Boy always plays the first game. That's what we can rely on him playing the first game religiously every year.
Yeah. So he's back. He's locked in. Slants are going to be very crisp this week. And I mean,
we're talking about Michael Thomas, by the way.
Thomas, actually,
we just saying that. But what did we mention? Go ahead.
Just how the Saints defense for about the last 5 to 7 years has been pretty solid. And I think they keep things afloat against a Tennessee offense who has a lot of question marks, in my opinion. I don't know why they're still going with Tannehill, but
what do you mean why? What's wrong with Tannehill?
Bro, is he not the reason they lost last season?
Bro, no. Tannehill was hurt. Josh Dobbs played that game last game.
Tannehill threw a pick in like the most crucial moment, and they lost that game.
One interception in one game. Are you shitting on Tannehill for one pick?
Once I figure out what was at stake in that game, I'm gonna It was Tannehill.
If it's the Bengals game, then sure, maybe. He threw 3 picks. I guess if that one's stuck in your head, then
but is that like determined positioning for playoffs? Wild
No,
card?
it was that playoff game. The playoff game against the Bengals when they got to the Super Bowl that year.
Okay, yeah, he fucking. I just say not.
My co-host has a vendetta against Tannehill. I had no idea. I'm learning.
This team, Tennessee, is softly tanking this year with what they got going on. Just because I think they need to get a quarterback. Malik Willis, obviously, they don't have faith in.
They made him number 2.
They did make him number 2, but
Tannehill, you're hating on him. I hear it. Yeah. I just think, look, I'm not a Tannehill lover by any means, but I think he's way better than what they got right now. He's way better than Richardson, and he's better than Levis. So I think he's your best option at quarterback. Them tanking with Vrabel is unheard of. I think Vrabel is going to try to win.
He's going to make it look like they're trying, for sure.
Oh, they're going to be trying. That's the thing. Like, I know this. Vrabel's defense is going to be – well, let's talk about that, right? Like, we know that the Titans' defense has the horses up front. Like, very scary. Autry and Simmons, they get pressures. And as a unit, they have one of the best run-stop win rates. But the secondary has all the questions, right? Like, will they be able to contain those quality wide receivers you just mentioned? Like a healthy Mike Thomas, Chris Olave, Raheed Shaheed, who led the league in separation or was top 10 in separation and yak yards after the catch last year. Undrafted free agent. Fucking crazy. And all those guys are going to be going against the Titans secondary that was bad last year. So I think that is the biggest matchup. I think Carr could look great week 1. If you have him in fantasy and you don't got one of the big 5, that's a good guy to throw in there for a week, in my opinion. And then you look at the defense versus the Titans offense. Cam Jordan, Granderson, rookie Brian Breesy, like all of them should get pressure on this bad offensive line. And I'm not just making this up, guys. This is PFF. They have them ranked as the 32nd best offensive line. That is the worst.
The Derrick Henry offensive line is the 32nd ranked offensive line in the NFL.
Yeah.
That is not – I wish you would have told me that before I drafted for fantasy.
Wait, well, this is a big reason why, too. They have 3 new starters, right? They drafted a kid, Skorinsky, out of Northwestern, I think he went to. Then they have this guy, Dillard. He never played much left tackle, and they got him playing left tackle. They moved Skorinsky, who played left tackle at Northwestern, into left guard. And then they got Brunskill from San Francisco. He actually dates a girl I know. But, yeah, now he's over. And by all accounts, San Fran didn't like when he was in the game last year. So,
jeez.
Yeah, so I truly lean to the Saints. I'm probably going to have a decent-sized wager on it by the time the game comes around. But, yeah, I like the Saints in this matchup. On to the next game. We're going to try to zoom through these a little quicker. Eagles are taking on the Patriots. Patriots are 4-point home dogs on their Tom Brady night, where he will be, I'm not sure, but they will be celebrating him prior to the game. I know that much. The over-under set at 44.5, and this game is at 1 o'clock. Justin, what do you got?
I mean, obviously the Eagles are trying to pick up right from where they left off. New England is trying not to have a dismal season. Well, this will be the kind of Mac Jones determining year because they just re-signed Bailey Zappi to the 53-man roster today. So I think that's kind of Bill being like, yo, you got to start, bro. But because when Bailey Zappi got in last season in a couple of games, he looked decent, bro. Like damn near moving the ball more effectively than Mac Jones was. So we'll see where
Kentucky, gee.
Yeah, well, where Bill's mind really is. I mean, I'm staying away from this game in general because I feel like it's Bill Belichick. He's goated. He could easily come out and just coach a masterful game, right? But the Eagles are they're in their heyday right now. 2 wide receivers over 1,000 yards receiving. Defense is balling out above levels. Just made it to the Super Bowl. Like they're like that right now. So it could easily be a wash. They could dub the hell out of New England at home, but it is a New England home game, and Bill doesn't go like that. So for that reason, I'm taking my chips off the table.
Yeah, no, if I had to pick a side, definitely lean to the Patriots catching 4. I think this Patriots offense could show some life having a new OC, someone who's actually called plays before in the NFL, and Bill O'Brien. Uh, they do have a few O-line questions. I know Trent Brown's questionable. And yeah, I mean, you hit on a lot, dude. One thing about the Patriots defense that scares me, it makes me, not have this as a best bet, because y'all know how much I love betting the Patriots with points. This defense, they tend to struggle versus running quarterbacks, right? Like we saw it last year with Fields. Um, I've seen it years prior with Lamar. I've seen it with other running quarterbacks. Like that is, I don't know if it's the slow linebackers. That's what they say, but they're just not that great against running quarterbacks. So Fields is as healthy as, I mean, not Fields. Hurts is as healthy as he's going to be this year. Could easily see his rushing yards going over. That's something that I'm going to be looking to take. And then you look at the Eagles. They have new coordinators on both sides of the ball. On the defensive side, new DC and no more Fangio, who was serving as a consultant to them for pretty much the whole season last year. They have a new green dot in the Kobe Dean kid out of Georgia, me and Justin really like. But they also have new linebackers and change in secondary. So they have a lot of changes, a lot going on the defensive side of the ball, and they're going to need their young Georgia guys to step up, like Jordan Davis and the Kobe Dean and kid, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, all those guys. So it's a lot they're hoping that will go right and that will mesh nicely. So definitely not a team I'm looking to run to the window to back first game. On to the next game. We have the Cardinals at the Commanders. The Commanders are 7-point favorites, the only game that they are previewed to be more than 3-point favorites for all year. The over-under is at a low 38. Justin, you like anything? You're going to be making sure this game is on the big screen, right? At 1 o'clock?
Cap. This joint might not even touch the reds. If I could take it out of the red zone, like if you could check what games you want to come in your red zone joint, I would unclick this joint because I'm not saying no. I'll tune in for parts and catch highlights, of course, just to see competition around the NFL and see what's going on. But as we mentioned earlier, our faith in the Cardinals this season from a plus odds standpoint is just it's big plus odds to be exact. They're going to be garbage. But this is also the first time in our lifetimes, I'm going to say that for me and my co-host, that we have seen Washington be a 7-point favorite. I don't even think when RG3 was there, they were a 7-point favorite at a point in time. They weren't catching 7. So
they've been 7-point favorites over.
Trent, when have they been a 7-point favorite? Washington since 1997.
They were laying like 5.5 to the Giants that Monday night game where the Giants didn't get the call or got the call in the end zone, all that stuff. Remember that game last year? So
I'm thinking
I'm thinking they have been laying 7 before. They're laying 5.5 to the Giants at home. Like,
do you think it's been more than 5 times since your birth that they have laid more than 7 points?
Like, honestly, nah, I'd take the under, bro.
All right, there we go.
All right, go ahead.
And for that reason, I don't really have much about this game. Week 1 for me, at least what I'm starting to learn in my betting life, is that you can't be gung-ho week 1. You really got to see how these offenses click and play together, see who's going to be the third wide receiver, who's going to be the up-and-coming star, the new rookie star, and that will dictate a lot because the Cardinals could get some Joe Schmo off the street. Next thing you know, it's what was it? Who's the guy who was working at a drive-in movie theater? Is that Kurt Warner? I think it was. So who knows? You never know.
You never know. That's very true. I am at 100% agreement. Just since we're going to touch on that topic, a lot of NFL coordinators, from what I've heard, they don't really. I'm trying to choose my words carefully. They don't have a set plan in place. No, that's such a bad way to say it. Moral of the story, week 4, about a month in the season is when you truly know what a team is. That's the way I wanted to say it. A month in the season, right? 4 games. That's when you know if this team is elite or not even elite. This is when you know what their offense is, who they are, what their identity is. Are they a run first team? Are they a pass first team? They pass just from shotgun. Do they love hitting their receivers on slam routes? Does their defense only run cover two? Like little stuff like that, or run cover two majority of the time. That's week 4. That's when you truly start to see that. So don't have your opinions too swayed by week 1, week 2, and I guess I'll have them swayed a little bit by week 3, but nothing crazy. But yeah, back to this game. I'll be swift. Cardinals, I mentioned it in the NFC West preview. I'll say it again. Offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator never had this job in the NFL. First time, first game, everything. Josh Dobbs making his 3rd NFL start. Best wide receiver, Hollywood Brown, game time decision. It's just not a lot going the Cardinals' way in this game at all. The one thing that is going their way is they're facing a quarterback that's making his 2nd NFL start, and they're hoping that will be perhaps a rough one for him. 7 points is a lot for a guy making a 2nd NFL start. Not running to the window to bet that either. Kind of lean under. 38. Jay, I'll throw it back to you. Houston is going to be at the bank taking on Baltimore. Baltimore's 9.5-point favorites in this game. The over/under is at 43.5. The Ravens have a surprising record season openers. They're 4-1 in the last 5 years. Harbaugh, though, however, is 11-5 in week 1. 11 points, plus 11-point margin against the spread. Most profitable coach week 1. Jay, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, I mean, we already talked about it a little bit in our last episode and how I feel about this opening game, or maybe that was during the drive picks, but I like the Texans. So much so, I'm officially wagering $20 against my co-host for the Houston Texans to cover 10 against his Baltimore Ravens.
Dude, say less. You got it right here. 20 straight up, just $20. Yeah, perfectly fine. If it's 10, it's a push. Yeah, got you. So sound amazing.
So just to get the juices flowing, get the season started. My co-host will probably be very happy once he wins his money. I think they actually covered 13.5, but yeah, we'll just go ahead and say this. But Lamar hasn't played all preseason, and he hasn't played since the injury. Now, he's an athlete, so I know he's recovered. He's been working in the offseason. He's been getting those reps in training camp. He's locked in. But that's different from game speed. And from being out for that long, it'll be interesting to see, because one thing I can tell you about the Houston Texans, they're coming to hit for a fact. One like Will Anderson, I think is going to ball. So I think it's going to be a really good game. I actually cannot wait until 1 p.m. tomorrow. I'm going to be like a kid on Christmas Eve. So that's my true synopsis on it. Now I got $20 in the air.
Nice. I love it. A little dub, ain't nothing.
Haircut?
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll actually be at this game, season opener. I guess I'll kick it off with the Ravens offense, right? Like, this is their first game with Lamar as a quarterback under the new OC, Todd Monken. Excuse me. There are a lot of questions. How does it look, right? Are there going to be less tight formations with a lot of tight ends and fullbacks like we had previously? Are there going to be growing pains? Lamar's first new offense in the NFL, more spread to run stuff, new pass concepts, all that, right? So that is decent, or what's the word, justifiable questions, right? Like, I'm not going to knock you for that at all. But they also brought in new receivers like Aguilar, Odell Beckham, who is good to go.
Catching them like Aguilar.
Also an electric receiver, or a rookie receiver, in Zay Flowers. The only guys who are questionable is Mark Andrews and Ronnie Stanley, which could be a big deal if Andrews doesn't play.
Is Humphrey playing?
No, Humphrey's out. But yeah, I'm not too. He was been supposed to be out. That's not a big deal. But yeah.
Plus 10.
But yeah, you look at the Ravens defense, right? They're returning Mike McDonald for a second year after having an above average defense last year in terms of EPA allowed per play. The interesting part about the D, though, to me, was how once they added Roquan Smith week 9, they seemed to flip a switch, right? In weeks 9 through 18, after the Roquan trade, they were 4th in EPA allowed per play and 5th in EPA allowed per rush. In weeks 1 through 8, they were 22nd and 23rd in those stats, respectively. So that is a huge change. and something that honestly made the Ravens a playoff team down the stretch. Last thing, this defense tends to make rookie quarterbacks life hell. They're 21-7 straight up versus rookie quarterbacks in the Harbaugh era. I think that continues. I mean, you heard me make the bet. I think they win by more than 9.5, or I think they win by more than 10. And I think they show Stroud a lot of zone, a lot of man zone stuff that he hasn't seen yet. It makes his life a little bit of hell. Last thing on the Texans, they had a lot of O-line has had a lot of overhaul in the preseason. They traded for Josh Jones, who's going to play left guard. He only played tackle the last few years, 11 games only at right guard during his 3-year career. And he didn't get a chance to play in the preseason for Houston at all at left guard where they have him listed. So that red flag for me. Kendrick Green, he's going to play center due to some injuries, but he didn't play a regular season snap last year.
He's starting?
Yeah. Hey, I knew you knew
Trent,
the name.
Hey, Trent. Hey. Yo, hey,
I wish I could see how he just jumped up to that microphone. Oh, my God.
Let me get my 20 back, bro. Please, bro.
Wait, can you expand on Kendrick Green and why you don't like him?
Bro. I'm going to just start with we drafted Kendrick Green to be the replacement to Marquise Pouncey.
Yep.
All-pro center Marquise Pouncey. Ben talked about this on a podcast earlier this year. They moved bro to fullback this offseason. Like,
that's so bad.
He can't play O-line, bro. Like,
oh, man.
If anything on the O-line, he's a guard. He's not. Yeah. He's not a center, bro. He's too no, bro. He be snapping the ball over people's heads and shit. That'd be blowing me. Like, he did it. He did it in the preseason too. We played him this preseason. He did it like twice.
All right, I'll let you give me $5 to get your bet.
When I saw Matt Canada, let me get 5 off that, please.
No. I will give you give me $5 and then it's no bet. How's that sound?
All right, that's cool.
Damn it! I shouldn't have said anything, man. I should.
Starting? You saw my face?
Yeah, this guy popped in the camera.
He almost robbed me. That's robbery.
Wow, you just made me more confident. So yeah, I'm sorry, I had to get those giggles out the way. And yeah, you got the defense. Justin already touched on it. He thinks the 3rd overall pick is going to be a difference maker, which is not a hot take at all. I think Will Anderson is a great player. A lot of guys from the Alabama defense the year prior said he was the best player on the team. So he's going to be a dog. But the defense as a whole, the group was really bad last year. My co-host is putting a lot of stock into the preseason, but they were still graded out the worst tackling team, according to PFF, 31st in EPA allowed per rush and 28th in terms of EPA allowed per play. So they are they've long ways to go. That's all I know. You know, I guess our guy D'Amico could be hitting bags with him and teaching them to form and getting low, all that. But until they show
D'Amico was a dog.
He was. That's why I said that. He could probably still hit a few sleds, no doubt. All right, on to the next game. We got how many more we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4. About 5 of them. Okay, we're gonna go through swift. We got the Packers and the Bears. Bears 1.5-point favorites at home. Over under sits at 41.5. Jordan Love making a second NFL start. Justin, what you got on this one?
Not much, honestly. Like I mentioned when we kind of pre-production, I didn't go through as much of the slate. I like the Packers. If I'm being completely honest, I'm leaning towards the Packers in this game. I don't know why, but Justin Fields really got to prove me wrong, especially after our Uber driver talked bad about him in Chicago, which was a crazy Uber ride to begin with.
Oh my goodness.
But, yeah, they got to prove it to me, honestly. Even in the preseason when people were like, "Oh, Justin Fields, one pass, 75 yards, touchdown to DJ Moore," I'm like, "Oh, he's locked in now." That's what I'm thinking. Like, it's a deep ball, it's a beautiful pass. I click on the highlight, it's a 2-yard screen pass.
That was at his toes that he had to scoop off the shoelace.
Bro, and what blew me even more is that they scored the same way twice.
I know. And that one was behind him.
Like I want to put faith in the guy who has the same name as me. Don't get me wrong. But the Packers, I think it might be Jordan Love era. You never know. Matt LaFleur and those guys, they're coming to prove something that they can do it without Rodgers. Rodgers was the issue, is what they're saying now.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement. I think I'm not in agreement on the team you like. Actually, I'm not leaning towards the Packers. I'm actually leaning the other way. The Bears, they're the Bears, right? They look good in the preseason. Some would say. I'm sorry, I'm just looking up something right now about the offensive line. Yeah, so their guys aren't back yet, right? Like Tevin Jenkins, Doug Kramer, these are offensive linemen for the Bears. They're not back. They're not at full strength. They're still on IR. So there's some question marks there. Um, but the real question mark, I'm just going to preview the game as a whole, is will Fields develop as a passer, right? Like, are we going to see him making those nice slants? I know he has a deep ball. We saw that at Ohio State, but it's that short and intermediate stuff that you want to see him progress with. And that's what I'm going to be watching this game for, is just to see how he looks and how Love looks also in the second game, in the second start. The only bad part is you have to take it with a grain of salt because Christian Watson is out and Romeo Doubs is questionable with a hammy injury. He came on a little more last season, towards the end of the season, but beginning of the season, he had a little case of the dropsies. The left tackle, Bakhtiari, he never practices, but he's good to go, even though he didn't practice all week. So, yeah, I mean, it should be a tough game. And the last time the Bears have beat the Packers, it's been a while. So I know they are going all out, getting tired of hearing people say we own them. Didn't goddamn Love try to wish him Happy Father's Day and butchered that whole thing? Yeah, it's a lot of bulletin board material for the Bears, so that makes me lean their way.
It is bulletin board material, but they have owned them for the last 10 or more years. So
Rodgers has owned them.
Yeah, Rodgers is actually the owner. I think they owe him like child support back there or something. I don't know.
Man, maybe he's going to talk about aliens some more. Who knows? But the Rams
or out of body experiences.
I hope you guys watch Hard Knocks. That is so funny. If you watch Hard Knocks, please add us comments on the YouTube about that, because that is funny as hell. The Rams are taking on the Seahawks in Seattle. 12th man will be in effect. The Seahawks are 4.5-point favorites. Over under is 46. McVay's 11-2 ATS versus Carroll. Thought that was crazy. No cup for this game.
Always covers.
Yeah, slight ownage. I could see this being a 2017 game and him going 12-2 ATS. What do you got on this one?
Yeah, I kind of like that. I think that the Seahawks do win this game, but it could McVay could easily cover. Well, let's put terms on easily. Who's the number one? Van Jefferson?
Oh man, that's a good question. You keep going. I'll give you that answer.
So their offense is in disarray right now. Let alone their offense. My co-host informed me that they lost 7 of their 9 starting defensive players this year. So that's another gaping hole that they have to fix on the other side of the ball. So it's not looking good on either side of the ball right now for this team. And yeah.
I mean, hey, we play numbers, not teams. I think 4.5 is a lot of points, especially with McVay's record ATS versus Pete Carroll. But yeah, to answer your question, the number 1 wide receiver is Ben Jefferson. The number 2 is going to be Tutu Atwell, and the slot receiver is going to be Ben Skoranek.
Yeah, go ahead and get yourself Seahawks money line. Add that in all your plays. If you want Kenneth Walker anytime TD. Well, you see Tutu Atwell is number 2.
Dude, if they try Tariq Woolen versus Tutu Atwell, I'm calling it right now. Tariq Woolen's picking it off. Like, Tutu Atwell is so small. Oh my god,
that's what bro. Tutu Atwell, damn near like the short third slot receiver that you put in on situational football. Come on now, he's not a number 2.
Hey man,
they need to trade for Mapletron. They might as well get Chase Claypool.
Mapletron. All right, on to the next game. Raiders at the Broncos. The Broncos are home favorites. They're 3.5. You could find 3 somewhere or some places. Over under is set at 43.5. I have a little more on this game than the last one, so I'll lead it off. The Broncos. You look at the offense side of the ball, right? The question is, will Sean Payton fix Russell Wilson? That is the big question. I think we'll figure it out. Like I said, don't put a lot of stock into week 1. I think we'll know by week 4. Just Russ's comfortability levels in the pocket, seeing him. If you watch a team enough, you can tell what someone's good at and what someone's not good at, right? And I'm just curious to see if Peyton goes in and says, all right, Russ, you weren't good at play action last year. You weren't good at week 1 this year. Let's take some of these play action plays out. Or you are better rolling, or maybe you aren't as good rolling out used to be because you're getting older. Let's take this stuff out. Let's add this in. I feel like that's where Sean Payton is really going to work his magic. But you mentioned it in the preview. The receivers are dropping like flies. They're losing weapons every day. And then you look at the defense. Just the defense as a whole going up against this Raiders unit, I think they could thrive. I mean, you have teams tend to struggle versus the Broncos early in the year and all this altitude. So I could easily see that being the case here. And when you look at the Raiders, you got Jimmy G. He's the quarterback, ultimate system quarterback. And he's familiar with McDaniel's system. So that's a green flag. They got a good group of skill players with Devontae, Jacoby Myers, his old buddy from New England, and Renfro in the slot. And then you add on Michael Mayer, the rookie from Georgia, and Josh Jacobs running the ball. It could be a very dangerous duo. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean from Georgia. Michael Mayer went to Notre Dame. He was damn good there too.
Yeah, tight end.
Yeah, really good, man. And the defense, right, for the Raiders, it's Crosby and friends. Like Chandler Jones is a dog, but he had a little incident. I'm not sure of his availability for the game. And
he's locked in.
He's locked in, okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just a little off the field incident. And then, they're hoping Tyree Wilson can be a dog too. So that's really what I'm going to be looking at is the sides of the ball that have question marks, like the Raiders defense, seeing how that unit looks as a whole, because their problem isn't putting up points. It's stopping the other team from putting up points. We saw that a lot last year. You got anything on this one?
Yeah. Even though they had trouble stopping teams from scoring, their pass rush is still solid. I think that they are an all-around front 4 or front, let's call it 5. I'm tripping. Chandler Jones is out.
Yeah, okay. So what's up? Can you read that real quick?
Ed Jones' personal has been ruled out for Sunday's contest due to personal issues.
Yeah, I told you about the calling the cops to his house. Some crazy stuff, man. I don't want to speak mental? On it. Yeah, it seems like it. They said that's happened to him before, like something along these lines. So,
dang, hopefully he's straight.
Definitely.
It's scary when stuff like that happens. Well, that is another big piece of their defense missing, I guess, in terms of pressure to the quarterback and overall. So it could be a struggle for them to keep things afloat. But I'm excited to see Jimmy G. And that's why I think the Raiders stay in this game, because Jimmy G is better than Derek Carr. Can we agree on that?
Hot take, man. Hot take. Man.
Whoa.
I don't know. Look. Oof. It's close. It's close. I got Derek 16th and Jimmy 20th. Like, it's close, it's by the end of the season, I'm gonna give you a full-on answer on that.
Game-winning drive. You got Marvin Harrison, Randy Moss as your wide out. You got the best wide receivers you could think of. What quarterback are you taking? Minute and 25 seconds from the 30-yard line driving. Who are you taking?
Damn, bro. I mean, when you say it like that, I think I have to take Derek Carr. He might throw the ball away on fourth down. He might throw the ball away on fourth down, dude.
I've seen Derek Carr throw the ball away way too many times in that situation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm taking Jimmy G.
Okay.
I feel like Jimmy G, Derek Carr might fold in the late moments of the game, but Jimmy G plays the game up most of the time, in my opinion. And when he was on San Fran and when things were rolling and they were hot, the offense is going down straight down the field. He's back there dropping back. Ayuk, Debo, they're moving the ball effectively. And I think he's just a more efficient quarterback than Derek Carr. And maybe that might change. In my opinion, might change when Derek's in New Orleans, and that might be different. Whoa, stat 63-2 when leading by 8 points at any point of the game. The Iowa Hawkeyes.
Are they up?
They're up 10-0.
They need to stop scoring.
I knew you were about this. They already blocked the kick.
I'm telling you, bro, those games are so sloppy. All right, back to the NFL. Last two games. We have a Sunday night football game where the Cowboys are going to be taking on the Giants. The Giants are 3-point dogs at home. Over-under is set at 46. I'll be swift. I don't have much. Cowboys offense, McCarthy calling plays for the first time in a long time. Don't really want to speculate because Rodgers kind of just ran him out of town. So I don't know if he was really doing a bad job or if he just wasn't doing what Rodgers wanted him to do. So we'll see. They have a whole new offense they're unveiling, the Texas Coast offense. Should be interesting to see that. Timing routes, all that good stuff. Hopefully Dak's on the same page as receivers. I think that is the goal of this.
Hopefully Dak is on the same timing.
Yeah. I think that's why they're implementing this offense. And then you got the Giants offense. I think Waller is going to have a big game. Jones is notorious for having a low ADOT. I think Waller is going to ball out. And, yeah, I think there's no reason not to take his receiving yards. What's up, big fella?
I'm sorry to inform my co-host and as well as the audience that Darren Waller is currently questionable to play in this game.
I saw that.
Yeah, he's actually very questionable to play.
Very questionable. Is that on the
nah? Because Roz has been keeping it up with it like more than I have, and because he has Darren Waller and he has Cooper Kupp on the same fantasy team, and he was like, bro, every time he sends me a notification, he's like, what the fuck? Like, he's like, every person I put in keeps getting injured.
Yeah, and it was last minute too. Like Waller got hurt like a couple days.
It was recent.
Yeah,
it was recent. They said he tweaked something that was never fully healed from what he injured in Las Vegas.
Oh no, that's no good.
So I would be hesitant to take his props. That's the only thing I'm gonna say.
He's so right. He's so right. I renege everything I just said. Take it all back. But last thing, Giants defense. They got my boy Wink Martindale. We know Wink loves the blitz. Dak's been real good versus the blitz though. So 1-on-1 with Lamb or Cooks versus that secondary. I think that matchup favors Dallas. So wouldn't be surprised if they went in there and covered on Sunday Night Football.
Who the G-men, right?
No. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, the guy was Dallas.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see. They paid all that money to their stellar offensive tackle. Let's hope that he can stay healthy for the full season and that things move well. Tony Pollard as the starting back, I think the running game is going to be clicking on all cylinders. See a lot of Deuce Vaughn this week too as well, just a little drop down passing. So they could definitely cover. You're right. The Giants defense hasn't been that all right or good so far, but they still got Dexter Lawrence up the middle. So they are a run stopping defense. Their pass stopping is a different conversation, but that's when that Texas Coast offense and timing routes and Dak Prescott and I'm not throwing 7 picks this year comment comes into play.
Yes, sir. All of that is so true. Just one stat I should give out before we get to the end of this podcast. Last season, there were 11 teams that didn't play their starting quarterback all preseason. And those 11 teams went 3-8. A little bit of rust. I just want to give out exactly who the 8 teams that didn't play their starters in the preseason. I just want to give those out really quick. So I'm going to do that. Okay. I'm sorry. It's taking a little second. Right after this, we have the last game, and then we're going to get out of here.
Yes, we are.
So here we go. Just going to share some random stats. Like I said, last season, the 11 teams that didn't play their starter all preseason went 3-8 in their week 1 openers. There are 8 quarterbacks that didn't play this preseason and would fit this system. Jared Goff for Detroit, Lamar Jackson for the Ravens, Joe Burrow for Cincinnati, Kirk Cousins for Minnesota, Dak Prescott for the Cowboys, Justin Herbert for the Chargers, Jalen Hurts, and Matt Stafford. Another set of two other ones. QBs in the new system, right? In week 1, they went 2-9 against the spread. Not a new system, 7-9. So, pretty decent sized sample size there. This is some data I worked on and I have to give because I put a lot of work into finding it, a lot of legwork. 2017 to 2022, rookie head coaches in their first road game are 8-23 straight up. The last 2 years, they're 4-8 straight up and 4-8 against the spread in their first road game. So, first year coaches that play on the road week 1 are DeMeco Ryans with Houston going up against the Ravens in Baltimore, and John Gannon, I think that's the name, John
Gannon.
Going up against the Cardinals, and I apologize, going up against the Commanders as 7-point favorites. And first year coaches that play on the road week 2, Shane Steichen, Colts facing the Texans at home. So yeah, just a little bit of week 1 info that I thought would be useful and insightful. On to the last game. Don't have too much on it, but we'll definitely need to talk about it. The Buffalo Bills, the first Monday Night Football game of the year. The Bills are heading down to East Rutherford to take on the Jets, where the Jets sit as 2.5-point home underdogs. The total of this game is 46. Justin, what do you got?
Bring out your hammers because we're taking the Jets. Nah, seriously, I think the Bills are in disarray. Like a very subtle, low, quiet disarray. If you remember a couple weeks back, Stephen A came out on First Take or his show in the morning and was like, I got my sources. Diggs wants out. He doesn't want to be there anymore. And from that preseason game against the Steelers where they started their ones and we started our ones, they didn't look good. They looked like they weren't clicking, like between Diggs and Allen. And maybe that's just a little rust you need to shake off, but they should be working out together in the offseason. But there was multiple times that last season Diggs was visibly frustrated with the decisions that Allen was making, whether it was not going down, not sliding, getting hit, fumbling, like stuff like that happened often. They did also lose their middle linebacker in Edmonds to Chicago. So, well, that really wouldn't matter that much with the other Milano because he's a baller as well too.
All pro.
They lost someone. Was it a safety? Poyer? Is he still there?
Yeah, I think he's still there.
There's one safety that they lost. It'll come back to me soon.
I got you.
But, yeah, the Bills, Josh Allen has a lot to prove. Let's start there. He's got to hold on to the ball, not make mistakes. He definitely has the weapons to do so with Dawson Knox, Kincaid, Diggs. James Cook is finally getting his first start. So we'll really see about the Bills, but I'm not high on them this year. And I do think that the hype surrounding the Jets this year, between Hard Knocks, between Rodgers, they're about to go 1-0 against a division opponent week 1.
Wow. He going to stand on that. All right. Yeah, I mean, shoot, dude, I can't say I disagree, especially because the Jets defense is so good versus Josh Allen. Mo Salah. Robert Saleh is very good at creating a game plan versus them. Last time he played them, I know time before that was when he messed up his elbow. Josh Allen messed up his elbow. But yeah, I mean, they get pressure to the quarterback. This Jets D is nothing to play with. They have a good scheme for Allen. I tend to agree with you. I think the Jets win this game. If I get a 3, I'm taking the Jets. And I got a feeling come Monday during the day, people are going to start pouring in money on the Bills -3. So,
gotta get your 3.
Yeah, no, I actually like it a lot. You made a lot of great points, but you have any other picks you like for the rest of the week?
a few props I like. If you can get Jalen Warren's rushing yards for probably 25 yards, it's probably going to be plus money. I think he's getting that. They used him very effectively in the preseason, and that 1-2 punch will be apparent. Najee is going to be the bell cow, but I like his stats.
You like his stats?
Well, yeah. Well, I'm just saying in terms of rushing or receiving and whatever one you want to take. George Pickens, I think at least 40 yards receiving. And as I mentioned earlier in the pod, Deontay Johnson is scoring a touchdown this week. So go to your bank, withdraw your rent, go to your nearest sports book, and ask for it all on Deontay Johnson's anytime touchdown.
Wow.
It's like,
no, that's a good plan. That's a good plan.
Don't take all the rent, maybe half.
No, great picks. Great picks. I have one that I forgot to give out. Anthony Richardson's rushing yards. I think week 1 he's going to be more inclined to scramble against the Jaguars, especially because at least in my opinion, a lot of other people's opinion, his arm talent isn't all the way there. So I think he'll rely on his legs. Haven't seen the prop pop up yet, but anything under 35.5, I'm willing to take with him. So, yeah.
It's a great play. Actually, I like that a lot. If I could parlay that, I would take Anthony Richardson's rushing, Kenny Pickett's rushing, and one other quarterback that I think is going to have to be like on his toes a lot.
Jalen Hurts.
They're about to protect the crap out of him this week.
But he's a dog. Yeah. He had a purpose before he had a.
Oh, yeah, his quotes be revolutionary. He be having me ready to take over the world.
I stand every time.
No, did you see? All right, well, let's close. I know I'll talk about
it. You're going to say it.
Say it. Did you see the Marvin Sapp speech to Colorado?
No, I didn't.
Bro, that joint had me ready to go cut everyone's grass in the neighborhood. Do all my lawn chores, everything, bro. He was like, he ended the speech by saying, like, it doesn't matter, we're a family, and he's like, we're a family, we work together, we're gonna build this house, and it's gonna be sturdy. And he was like, and since we're a family, bro, hold on, I gotta find the quote because it's a great quote.
Well,
go ahead. You close it.
I'll close it out. Well, thank you all for listening. I wish we could have gotten you some more inspirational quotes other than Jalen Hurts and Warren Sapp. But yeah, if you haven't, like I said at the beginning of the episode, follow us on YouTube, follow the podcast. Appreciate your support. We'll be back Thursday to drop our picks and a whole nother episode. So we'll see you then. Enjoy the first weekend of football and talk to you soon.